Juice Wrld recently released a song, and he actually has passed away.
Yes.
And
that stuff is crazy.
Is it okay for labels to do that? Because where
It's
does
a
the
weird
money
line.
go? Juice Wrld has
Because they do own the rights to his music technically.
My name's Evan. This is my co-host Cole.
What's popping off? Cole just solved global warming right now.
Reddit got that dog in him. Zendaya, I love her.
Like culturally, I don't think people care as much about
Yeah.
the Grammys. The #1 podcast on Mars.
Good morning, everybody. This is Run the Culture. I'm here with Evan, my co-host. This is going to be a good day. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty solid. I'm excited. You know, I feel like we're about to have some great conversation. We have some good guests.
We do have some good guests.
You know, Torre Mower, she is on our Central Youth team, loves the Enneagram. I can't stand it. We have Elijah Furtick.
Yes, sir.
He is our
In the building.
Central.
Wait, who are you again?
Dude, I don't even know. That's crazy.
I think
I'm like TD Jake's
he's
son.
he's
just
related to someone.
related to
Chad V.
TD Jake's
Anyways.
cousin. TD
Yeah,
Jake's cousin.
something like that.
He is our central producer. All of the beats you
Yes,
hear
sir.
for the youth team
Every single beat.
made him.
What, it's like do the dash.
Do the dash
Evan,
on
how
YouTube.
do you feel about the fact
Flash,
that
do
you were
the
the
Flash.
first hire and now we have a producer on our team?
That's crazy.
Isn't that
It is
nuts?
crazy.
Yeah,
Do you get emotional sometimes?
all the time.
You just wow, look at
Are
Cole
you just a
and-
ball of
Cole and
emotion?
Elijah.
we were
Absolute
just
ball
talking
of
about
emotions.
in the car how Cole never cries.
Yeah.
You never
I only
cry.
cry
never
over
cry.
happy
So-
things.
You never cry.
That's
I
like a
don't.
big value for him because every time he tells me
That's
that
a
he
value
cried,
not to
he
cry.
preferences
So-
it with like, I
I've
don't
only-
Because
usually
of
cry.
how I grew up, it was not a thing where we cried.
I've only
like-
seen Justin cry one time, and we've been together for 6 years.
I've been with my mom for 19 years, and I've only seen her cry 4 times.
Really?
Bruh.
See, I think that crying is an absolute necessity.
Yeah, especially
See,
around your
I
family.
only cry though when
Emotional
I'm
stability.
happy. Like I cry when I'm like moved by things, not
I
like when
envy
I'm
that.
sad.
I agree with that.
I'll like cry because of like watching Inside Out, like not because I'm like sad, but because like, oh wow, that was, or like an Upworthy video where I'm like,
Yeah.
that was so sweet. Like acts of
Yeah.
kindness make me cry, but I'm never just like crying in my shower because I'm sad.
Really?
No, I've
Yeah.
never done that.
Dang.
But like also
But
in
then,
my
what do you feel whenever you're sad?
I don't feel sad.
I be getting anxiety.
I get
attacks.
angry.
See, that's what I'm saying.
So
though.
like
anger is not a good replacement, though.
but it just naturally is my replacement.
we can't.
It's
we
not
can't
like
control
I'm
it.
like I will you might get like a little bit upset if like sad is your go-to emotion over something where I'm just like a little bit irritated when someone cuts me off in the car. I'm
Yeah.
not just like
Wait.
raging all the time.
Yeah.
But someone cutting you off in the car wouldn't make you sad. That would make anyone angry.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but I might not react to something that might make someone sad.
Yeah.
So recently, my grandfather passed away.
And
It
you
was-
didn't cry.
I didn't cry. I wasn't sad.
I didn't
Okay,
cry
well-
when my grandfather passed away either.
But you know
But
what?
I
This
get-
this
I
takes
get
me where I
that.
want to go
like,
though.
there's maybe like a positive outlook on that too. But I feel like if you don't feel any sadness,
I definitely think that it's a flaw, and I probably should attend counseling because I am so emotionally
Facts.
unavailable. But this takes me to where I want to go
Okay.
because
Fair.
I love counseling. Just throwing that in there.
I agree with you.
I've been
Necessity.
referred. I have not gone. I want to do it.
You
I
need
just,
to go. It's really like I'm really glad that we now live in an age where there isn't such a stigma for going to a
Facts.
counselor
Yeah.
because it's been one of the most helpful things for me.
You
in
gotta
my
have
life.
someone that you
Is it
can
is
that you
it
can
a
talk
couples counselor or individually?
I've done both.
Yeah.
And I've had bad counselors before too.
Yeah.
So I know the value of like a
What
good
does that look like?
counselor. So it depends. Like different people want different things. Some people just want to go and like the way that you imagine counselors via movies where you just like lay on a couch and talk about how you feel for an hour. I want someone who's going to like help correct my line
Yeah.
of thinking.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like I've had counselors that are like, no, like you don't have control over that because of this. Let's rework this. Or like that's a bad pattern for you to be caught in. Let's have a conversation about it, as opposed to just like, I have a friend who's like, legit, I want to just go and vent what I feel for an hour and it be a safe place. And I'm like, I want someone to help me change the way that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want somebody like because I realize that crying is unhealthy and not feeling emotions is also unhealthy.
Wait,
I
wait,
want-
wait.
You mean
Wait,
not
you mean
crying
not
is
crying?
unhealthy?
I mean, not crying.
Okay.
Personally, I do feel like crying is unhealthy, but I realize
Well,
that not
I
crying
think
is
that
unhealthy.
crying like just in like public
Yeah.
or when you're with random people is like not the best thing. I mean, it's not bad by any means, but like you definitely need to like if you feel like you can't cry around your family, I don't even know how you would like emotionally like do that, bro.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm built different.
I think
don't do it.
But I
but
feel
then you
like-
probably over exaggerate
locked
other
down.
feelings.
Yeah.
So there's
Nobody letting
probably
in.
like an over exaggeration somewhere else
Yeah.
where that's spilling out.
So like I noticed JJ brought this to my attention, the Valentine campus pastor.
Mm-hmm.
He we were talking and he's like, Cole, I noticed you'll get on Xbox and you'll be like, yeah, my grandpa just passed away. And we'll be like, are you okay? And you'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. And then 2 weeks later, you'll be very sad. And I'll be like, why are you sad? And you'll be like, because my mom yelled at me. And then he's like, so you're not really sad about the thing that you think you are. It's just you have so much buildup
Yeah.
that once a month, I'll have like this moment where I'm really down bad because I
Mhm.
don't process my emotions correctly.
I
Maybe
learned
this-
from Holly that you're probably a stuffer.
That's-
There's
that's-
stuffers, shouters, and pouters when it comes to emotion via Mrs. Better Half.
Mhm.
And I misused that one time in an argument. So maybe don't use that when you're in a relationship to
Yeah.
accuse someone of being one thing.
You're being a powder
But-
right
We're
now.
being- we're just such a
I
powder.
I can totally picture Torre pulling that out. Like,
yeah,
you're
because
being
I'm
such a powder
obviously a
right now.
shouter. Like, we
Yeah.
all know that I'm obviously a shouter. And I may have
don't feel like you
shouted.
are.
Oh, yeah, I'm a shouter.
She's a shouter.
At
Really?
home, I'm a shouter. Yeah. Justin has said, speaking of the Enneagram, Justin has said that work gets all of my 9 and he gets all of my 8.
Oh my
That, like,
God.
I'm such a 9 at work that when I come home, all I have left is, like, all of the 8
Statements
in me.
like that make me discredit
Yes.
whatever somebody has to say.
I just completely tuned out
But-
when you mentioned a number on a
But
scale
that's
of 1 to
because
10.
we have that relationship. So, like, Justin and I have a relationship where we talk about it, that I'm going to be like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm not going to tell Elijah, like, you're being such an 8 right now.
Some people do that, though.
Yeah.
That's wrong. They
Well,
shouldn't do that.
I
They
feel like
1000% shouldn't do
I feel
that.
like if you understand the Enneagram, it's not, you don't just hear a number, you hear the language around the number.
But I
So-
okay.
It's helpful to like articulate what it is specifically that.
But
you're
you can
doing.
articulate how someone is without using a number on
Yeah.
a scale of 1
right,
to 10.
but it's more concise to say a number.
really.
If you both are on the same page about what you're trying to describe.
but
Why don't
it-
you
it's
just talk to
different.
them and try to get to know them and
Yeah.
understand them rather than just like, oh, you're a.
I know
you're a
you, Evan,
2.6.
as like
No, I'm
a
saying,
great
like,
guy,
in a
not a 2.
relationship.
Yeah, I think that that's where the Enneagram gets misused. I think that we've taken something and we've done the opposite of what it was meant to do. The Enneagram, what I really like about the Enneagram is that it goes deeper than most personality systems. So it talks about your motivation and not your behavior. Your behavior is what people try to identify that puts you in a box.
Right.
And what I like about the Enneagram is the whole goal is that you grow out of your number and you grow to look more like other numbers and you grow out of your box. So if people are coming around saying like you're being such a this, they're misusing the Enneagram.
Okay, I really like that. Trying to, because I feel like a lot of people will like just use the Enneagram to like have an excuse for being
Like,
something.
yeah, like,
they'll-
Yeah.
oh,
as
like
an
oh,
eight, I'm just
I'm
angry.
just such an 8. Like,
yeah, and I can
but
just
it's
be
like,
mean to people because I'm an 8.
That's what I don't like.
And
about
that's not what you're supposed
But
to
I
do.
also
Exactly.
feel like your life has a lot to do with how you are. So like,
it. Yeah.
I hate to keep going back to not having a dad, but because I didn't have a dad growing up, that makes me not as emotional as the regular person. I'm not a 4. I don't even know what a 4 is, I'm gonna be honest. But I'm not a 4 or a 3-wing 4 or any of those. Just because like me not having a dad is not going to magically affect my Enneagram number. It's
Yeah, there's arguments about like whether it's nature or nurture,
Yeah.
and like I believe that it's both. I believe that you're born a certain number, and a lot of Enneagram scholars believe you're born a certain number. You experience what's called a childhood wound.
Enneagram scholars. That's funny.
So a childhood
You think
wound.
they'll have like a degree for it in the future? Like you go to school to be a Enneagramologist?
I don't know, but you can get a certificate in being an Enneagram coach, like you can
you
for
have
being
one?
YouTube certified.
Do you have a certificate?
I don't have a certificate.
Dang.
I don't feel like I need the certificate. It's kind of
So is
like
it illegal to
redundant?
like run an Enneagram account without a certificate?
no.
Ah.
Just
Yeah.
like it's not illegal for people who aren't like famous on YouTube to have YouTube accounts.
Facts.
But I do think that
Great-
the childhood
great
wound thing's
analogy.
really helpful. It's basically like you experience something psychologically that you don't know how to process because you're
Okay.
5 or 4 or whatever. So
Yeah.
that could be someone like bullies you on the playground and they're bigger than you. And now you think, all right, I have to do whatever it takes to protect myself so that this doesn't happen to me again and I don't get taken advantage of. And then you start to see the world that way.
Dang.
So I think that I really have a problem with where the Enneagram has come. I have
Yes.
been
Yeah.
studying
Yes.
the Enneagram for almost 6 years. So like there were very few people that knew about it. And then it's turned into this thing that's like all you do is put people in boxes with the Enneagram.
That's what I
and
feel
people
like.
will say like,
It's just scary to me.
I was having a conversation with someone and their supervisor had said to them like, oh, well, you just feel that way because you're this number. And they were like, no, I feel this way because I'm a person and I have feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's where you have to be really careful with the Enneagram, and why like Ashton the other day was like, what's my number? And I was like, I don't do that. Like, I'm not going to do that. And he was
Yeah.
like, but I know what it is. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like at some level, if I do that to you, it allows bias into the way that you view the Enneagram. And I
Yeah.
just think that it can be so much more helpful than that. So I don't want to do that.
All right, Tori, break the rules right now. What is my number?
No,
Why not?
because I won't do it.
Okay, Elijah, what is your number?
I've been told that I'm an 8, but I don't put myself in a box, so I don't agree with that.
All right.
Well, okay. Hold on. This is the key thing
Uh-huh.
that you said, is that the Enneagram doesn't talk about behavior as much as it talks about the motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help me understand that a little bit more, because I feel like that is probably the biggest misuse of
Mhm.
don't tell me what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, but if
Yep.
you can help me understand what the motive is behind my behavior, I feel like that can be really helpful.
Yeah, I think that like the best way I know how to talk about it is like through my personal experience with figuring out what my number is. I tested as a 3. The test is wrong most of the time because you're testing out of behavior because that's what you're used to.
You pick the questions and answer them what you want to
Exactly.
be, not what you actually
So
are.
the test is wrong most of the time. It's not a scientific system. It's self-diagnosed for sure. There's no like you're not going to like find a scientist that's studying the Enneagram. So there's no like data analytics, whatever that goes into the way that the tests are being taken. So I tested as a 3. I have achiever as a strength in Strength Finders. It's my 3rd strength. My dad is a 3. I behave a lot like a 3 because I had a dad who told me my whole life the best way to get a job is to have a job. I have never quit a job without another job. Like I value working really hard. It's a lot of I like want to be the best. I'm very competitive, all those things. The motivation of a 3 is to not fail. Like at its core, a 3 doesn't want to fail. A 3 wants to be successful.
But would that not
Wouldn't
be true
that be
for every-
anybody?
So
There's unless you're a bum.
a
You're
lot
not trying to fail.
exactly, which is why when I was trying to figure out if I was a 3 or an 8, the motivation of an 8 is to not be seen as weak. So for me, the difference is, I don't like failing.
my
None
God.
of
But
us like
but
to fail.
Does anyone want to
To be
seem
seen
weak?
as weak. If that's
but
the
it's
case,
different.
if that's the case, then I definitely am an 8 because I care way more about being seen as weak than I care about being seen as a failure.
That's what I was gonna say, because I think I think the motivation for a 2, which I'm still not totally sure what number I am, but for a 2 is the fear of being like unlovable.
Or not needed.
Yeah, or not needed, which I feel like that is a lot more core to my motivation than.
But I feel like I care about all these things.
Yes, but are there different degrees that you care about them?
Like,
you know what? My eyes are opened, and Evan, I need you. I just want to let you know that.
Hey, yo.
This
I need you
podcast
too.
would not. This podcast would not run.
This is my
without
guy
me.
right here.
But Elijah, I'm a newly convert Enneagram lover. So
Dang, it only
But
took
what
this.
the
it only
heck
took
happened?
It took
it only
him
took
10
15 minutes
minutes.
and 9 seconds. But
Look at that.
I feel like after hearing what Tori said, she was an Enneagram scholar.
I like the way that Tori described it. I just don't
I
think I
do.
like how people use
I don't.
it.
People
I
are
agree.
misusing the
Yeah.
Enneagram.
It reminds me of the
It's like
Black Mirror
horoscopes.
episode where they're like they rate each other based on the
Yeah,
interactions they
That's
have.
Yeah.
with the
honestly,
stars.
Justin and I stopped running our Instagram account because it turned into this like stereotypical meme culture thing that
Yeah.
we never wanted it to be. And that's just like something that I just don't want to engage in. Like if that's the kind of Enneagram conversation you want to have, cool,
Yeah.
you can have that. It can be whittled down to stereotypes and memes. But if you're doing that with someone who's not on the same level as you, it's like talking about faith. Like if you're talking about something like really deep when it comes to faith with someone who's a new believer, you're not on the same page. They're not going to understand what you're talking about.
Right.
And so I think that has really tainted the way that people look at the Enneagram. And I just think we have to be better about it.
So
Yeah.
Elijah, you say you feel like you are an 8.
No,
Or-
I've been told that I'm an 8.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't agree.
What do you-
I don't put myself in a box.
So I've known you for like
I'm
a
all
little
the
while
numbers.
now, and I don't know. I don't really know Enneagram like that, but I know when you are making beats, you are an extremely meticulous person.
Yeah.
And like, how did that come about? Like, have you always been meticulous, or did it just
I
come?
definitely like OCD, or like what does meticulous mean?
Like very focused,
Very
like you're
focused.
very nuanced in the way that you do things.
Like,
yeah.
things have
If
to
it's
be a
something I'm
certain way.
passionate about.
So is it
It's
like,
like particular.
yeah?
Okay.
How did you come about with making beats? How did that start?
So, well, I always was playing music growing up. So,
Mhm.
like, I played piano and drums for like 7 years, but I didn't really like it. Like, I liked it; it was cool, but I just didn't feel like it was like cool. Like,
yeah.
that wasn't something like I didn't want my friends to know that I was like taking piano lessons because the songs I were playing was just not cool. And then like one day I just literally started just going crazy on GarageBand, and the beats
Dang,
were
GarageBand.
trash. But I would show it to my friends, and they would be like, "Nah, I don't like this," and I just be like, "Dang, that's crazy," because I do. So I just kept working, and I just started putting the beats on SoundCloud,
Uh huh.
and they were trash. And then I would just watch like the Genius interviews and stuff they would have with producers that I knew from like the industry. And I remember I was like just like watching this one interview, and the dude was like, "Oh yeah, I work on FL Studio," but he's like, "But when I was the kid, I got the trial." So I was like, "I just got the trial version." And you can't even save the projects. You just have to bounce them as an audio file. And I just started going crazy. I don't know.
But
I really taught myself.
you taught yourself how to make beats.
Yeah.
So in the moment, you thought they were
I thought
good.
every beat I ever made was
Was
fire
fire.
at the time I was making it. I'll probably look back in a year and not even like the beats I'm making now.
Like
know
the
what I'm
Kingdom
saying?
I
Cloud
agree with
beat
that.
that everyone's
Oh
obsessed
my
with.
gosh. Okay, I made this one beat for Kingdom Cloud that it probably took me 5 minutes to make. It was the most simple beat. And now it's just like, apparently that was like the peak of my career. It's all downhill
it's
from
all
there.
been downhill.
So
since
you
Yeah.
always
Kingdom
have been
Cloud.
somewhat
I don't
of,
know.
like,
The Home Depot
musically
beats
inclined.
pretty
Yeah,
fire.
yeah, yeah.
I
for
love
sure.
the Home
Like the
Depot
Home
beat.
Depot.
Did I tell
Yeah.
you that I was watching the vlog? I think it was the Leader Advance vlog, and the Home Depot beat was at the end of it, and I was watching it with Justin, and I was like, he was like shaking his head, and I was like, yeah, but that beat's pretty fire. And he said, did you just
Thank
say
you.
pretty fire? And I was like, yeah, I did, but it is.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate
mean, that beat is
that
fire.
Home Depot beat took a minute.
Now,
Cause I was just, wait, hold on.
Okay.
This is
That'll
a
take
funny
some perfecting.
this is a funny story.
go ahead. I think the beat needed more fill still, but go ahead.
So it started that inside joke of, so we were just at a rhythm night, and I was just cooking up, and they kept playing the Home Depot theme song, and I was like, why do y'all like this song so much? And I was like, I'm gonna sample it into a beat. So I sampled it, and then Evan just kept saying, he's just like, I don't know why, but it just doesn't sound like it's there. So I just kept adding more stuff,
Yeah.
and it just kept saying like it needs more fill. And then at one point he was just like, that's enough fill.
It's got it there.
And
How do you sample
that's how we did
stuff
it.
without it getting copyrighted?
So you can't really. I mean, like, it just depends. Like, you can do different stuff. Like, you can change the tempo of the sample or, like, pitch it up or down.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, if your video gets big, they're still going to copyright it.
Because I know people sample other people's songs.
Well, you
in
can
their
pay- you can
songs,
pay
and
people.
and they're paying people.
You just give them a cut of the song.
Okay.
So the same way you just credit them as a writer on the song.
Okay.
But for, like, putting it in a YouTube video, you're basically taking a risk.
Yeah.
But if your video doesn't get that big, they're not going to really claim it because they don't really care.
Interesting.
Dang.
Yeah, there's things you can do to make it not automatically detect the sample by like pitching it down.
Is there
and
like
changing-
robots that do that?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what's crazy? I was reading this article about robots who are like becoming emotionally aware, like
I feel like
artificial
Cole's always trying to go
intelligence.
back to aliens or robots.
Because there's this theory going around at the offices, and Elijah, I haven't told you this, but I'm telling you now.
Okay.
There's a theory going around that Pastor Steven created a robot that is myself
I think
and
that's
I was
so
created
dumb.
to be your e-group leader and steward you through life. And I'm not a robot. I just don't cry because I don't want to.
Who started this rumor?
This is the most absurd.
it's the most
it
literally
started-
absurd thing
it
I've
started
ever
with-
heard.
kind of makes sense.
It started with Leighton.
I'm
and
not
then
gonna
it went
lie.
to John, and now they're slowly getting a group of people to believe that I'm a robot. My
gonna
robot
become
name
like
is
a-
Colbot. Colbot 1000.
Cobalt 1000.
Damn.
then
It's kind of a cool robot name.
Leighton will text me at like late at night and be like, "Are you recharging your systems?" And I'm
I
like,
love Leighton.
I'm
How
like,
funny would that
"Bro,
be to just like plug in?
I do. What are you talking about?
He's like, that's my
I'm
reality.
not actually a robot, but that's who they think I am. They were like, you know what? Pastor Steven knew Elijah was gonna need an e-group leader, so he created you.
I mean, I feel like if that was the case, then why have I had like 20 e-group leaders?
Also, like, did y'all gel right off the bat?
No.
Nah.
See?
Nah, I
So-
thought he was whack when I first met him. Apparently.
Really?
I don't
he
even
did.
remember this.
He would
but
be cooking
So
me.
wait. You don't like getting typed as an Enneagram number, but you just made like a whole assumption on my man. That
I
you
was
didn't
whack,
like
well,
though.
I mean, we're always making assumptions about people. That's how we view the world.
When we met though,
Then what's
I
wrong
was
with-
whack. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. So he had a right assumption. It's not like I changed significantly. My confidence.
I
levels
wasn't
went
like
up.
I'm never gonna speak to this man again. Like
Yeah.
you make impressions of people. What am I supposed to do? Just walk around and just not?
You want to know the fit I was wearing? A cow print pattern.
Why do you remember this?
I don't know. I just remember. I remember my
It
first
It was a
interaction
core
with
memory,
people.
Elijah.
It's
Okay.
I
because
do not even remember meeting you.
He's
He
a
just,
robot.
Apparently, I said he was
went
whack.
back into the hard drive and
Was
pulled
a-
that file out.
It was a cow print pattern T-shirt, black jeans, and red Converse. And I was like, dang, this fit.
This
heat.
man wore nothing but the same pair of white Air Force Ones for like.
Yeah, they would
years.
cook me about that every
he,
e-group.
he beat those things up.
Yeah,
All right.
it was bad.
I don't
But
even
now-
own.
now
I
look
don't
where he
even
is
own
now.
Air
Got the
Force
ones on.
Ones.
You don't?
No,
All
because
right.
too many people have the white Air
I
Force
like
Ones.
the Air Force Ones. It's
But
just about what you do with
everyone
the rest of
has
the
them
outfit.
now.
All right, back to the real meat though.
Take us back.
Robots are becoming like they're about to be able to feel emotions, and I think that is a dangerous
that stuff is
place to
scary.
venture into.
Well,
I'll be
yeah, 'cause
watching, like-
now you're venturing into like all those scary movies, like where people have
iRobot?
like yes,
Yeah,
and then they have feelings, and then they take over the system because they're smarter than all of us.
like what if 20 years from now they're like, you know what, robots marriages can be a thing.
Is it even going to be possible for them to get smarter than us if we're designing them?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the whole
Yeah.
thing because they're a computer.
Because
So-
they keep learning.
Yes, it's this like
There will be never
via
a
the
thing that
movies,
they don't know.
You know, like, but also they're movies.
But,
But
like-
I have heard my uncle used to work for the government. I still don't know what he did.
Can you
It's
say
fair-
this?
Yeah, I can say it. I'm not
Okay.
saying who he is.
Is this classified information?
But I
Classified.
have heard from him that if you're seeing it in a movie, the government already knows how to do it.
What?
What?
Yes.
We can make a movie right now.
So wait, you're saying Star Wars?
So like
Lightsabers.
if you're
We got
As-
the Force.
that's what I've heard. If
Is
you're
Yoda
seeing
real?
it
I
from
need to
like
know if Baby Yoda's
like
real.
Breathing
I mean,
underwater?
if you think about Tenet, like time traveling.
Oh my god.
Stop
Apparently,
talking.
If you're
Nah,
seeing
You're
it in a
lying.
movie,
You're tripping.
the government already knows
So
about
we can
it.
make
That
a
is
movie.
a
We can make a movie
lie.
right now and make it to where you can shoot a fireball out of your hand. Does that mean the government knows how
No,
to shoot
that is-
fireballs
that
out of
is,
their hand?
Basically, what it's saying is that like if we're able to think about it, they're like that many steps ahead of
That's
us.
funny because I have had that thought that
Yeah.
if we can imagine something, that there is the possibility of it. And even
So,
like
wait,
in,
wait, wait.
even like in Star Trek, like
Yeah.
the beam me up Scotty
Uh-huh.
thing. I heard that there were scientific, theories that could be theoretically possible.
Yeah,
But
So I'm like, is our
So-
only constraint
our own
our-
imagination.
our own imagination?
One of my mom's friend actually was like a part of the Navy SEALs. And when they would go on like missions, he said the drones that we are using now, they had access to in the early 2000s.
See, that's what I mean.
Well, I don't doubt that.
so I
Yeah.
saw.
Have you seen the Black Mirror episode where the bees are drones?
Yes.
It's
That-
freaky.
that is scary.
Hey, have y'all seen an ant since we went on Corona shutdown?
bro, I just
I have
saw
not
that.
seen an ant. I actually, y'all, people are saying pigeons are of the government.
Oh my god! I
Have you seen
haven't
an
either,
ant?
But I
Yeah,
don't
we are-
look
I-
for
we are
ants.
going
Now I'm
definitely
gonna,
down a
I'm
conspiracy
gonna
rabbit
look
hole right
for-
now.
I'm
You
gonna
know
look
what?
for
While
ants
we're down the
everywhere I
conspiracy
go.
rabbit hole, I
Hold
gotta
on,
say.
wait. Let me say something. So
Okay.
I don't
I'm talking
remember
about
who it
Mandela
was.
effect when we get
It
back.
might have been like Elon Musk. I think it might have been Joe Rogan or something. I don't even know. But they were talking about how it doesn't really like people always talk about like, oh, tech companies are already da 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 da. They already know how to time travel. People want to make money. So I guess you could say that the government doesn't want to make money, but like especially big tech companies, if they know how to do something, they're going to do it because they want to be the first one to do it and make money off of it. It's not like they're like trying to keep it to themselves. They want to capitalize off of the money.
I think you
Yeah,
gotta
if-
wait.
I
So
I don't know
pull
if
the
that's
trigger, though.
that's fully true though, because like even like Apple's got patents for wireless charging and has had that for 10 years, foldable screens, but they
Yeah.
haven't rolled that out yet. So I don't know if there is like
But
they're
there-
trying to
but-
figure out the monetization of it to maximize it.
Maybe.
Juice World recently released a song, and he actually has passed away.
Yes.
And there
That stuff is crazy.
is it okay for labels to do that? Because where
It's a
does the
weird
money
line.
go? Juice World has
It is a
Because
weird
they do
line.
own the rights to his music technically. So they own the rights to that song. So legally they can put it out. But it's just kind of weird like he's dead and they're just taking the money
So what we're talking about, just to clarify, is that after artists die,
yeah.
they
their
will
labels
still
continue to release
music.
posthumous
So
songs.
how is that possible? It's the label.
Well,
It's the label.
exactly.
Or
And it
are
can
there
actually really
songs
mess up
that
their
have been-
discography because it's like they'll put out these projects that are
What is
just
a
very
discography?
unfinished. A discography is like all of an artist's music.
Okay.
So think about with like XXX Tentacion or however he
Mhm.
produces his name or pronounce his name. They put out multiple, like 2 or 3 albums that were just clearly not finished, like bad vocal quality, very like just unfinished songs,
Yeah.
lots of features taking up most of the song. And it really like, I mean, I don't know, I don't really like his music like that, but a lot of people would say that they kind of ruined his discography and his legacy, and now people are just gonna like think his music's trash and gonna think he's a cop out because they're just putting out these unfinished albums. When it's like, really, if the artist was alive, they would have worked on the album more and more and more until they feel like it was ready.
So
to
where does the
release.
money go?
So it depends on the situation. I don't know exactly how it is with Juice, but a lot of times I feel like if they're not giving any money to the family from it, I feel like that's messed up. But then
Yeah.
again,
Agree.
legally, like labels just want to make money,
Yeah.
so you can't really expect them to be like,
If they sign the contract.
Yeah.
like,
so it's like, it's weird.
It's
It's
a real
no.
gray area. I still think it's messed up though.
It's definitely, but the
I-
other thing is the fans want music,
yeah.
so it's not like they're just like,
Yeah, like, is there part of, like, as a fan, you're like, I thought that I lost this, and then there's some excitement
for
about
sure, 100%.
The thing I'm curious about is how
That's why they make so much
is-
money.
is like with Juice
Juice WRLD.
World, for example. Did
Yeah.
he write those songs, and he'd just been holding on to them, and then his team took those?
So that's the thing. So like that
it still
song,
has his
that
touch
song
on
felt
them.
finished. That song felt like that was a song. that
Like
he
maybe he was
finished.
working on another album.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But like a lot of these artists, they'll put these songs on there that you're like, that was not finished. Like that was not.
I don't think
a
that's right. They're
complete
just
song.
trying because they know. Oh wow.
Well, they
this
know
is
they
one
can
of the
capitalize
last-
off of the
That
money.
is messed up.
But
But
that
then
one actually
there's
made sense because they
instances
had a
like
whole
Drake.
music video with him in
Have
it.
they done this with people, like, in the past?
They've done
Yeah.
it with Michael Jackson.
Really?
So
For
Michael
sure.
Jackson has been passed away since 2009, but
I remember
was
seeing it on
featured.
TV.
He was featured on Drake's album in a song called "Don't Matter to Me," and it wasn't like it was a good song. I think it's a highly underrated song on that album. And
But the thing is, you don't know if Michael would have wanted to do that collab. So that's where the weird, like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of
They
more
did
on
sign the
the side
contract.
of it not, that shouldn't be a thing.
Them
feel
releasing
just like
music.
allow the dead to stay
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
it is interesting.
No, for sure.
Because
The
that's
more
like,
we're talking about it.
that goes into, like, when you sign contracts, you're not really reading the contracts
Yeah.
at, like, length. So most times when you sign contracts, you're signing over intellectual property,
Yep.
which is
It's the
this.
label's property.
So it's like, technically they do own it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's
It's like I don't know, kind of back to that robot thing a little bit of like,
the, like, morality of it messes with you.
yeah.
And
But
these
at
are
the end of the
humans,
day-
not even robots.
You
Yeah.
know the
No, I
labels are just trying to make money.
We need to
So
have
they're
a
gonna-
label. Let's start a label called the Good Boy label, where like we actually are giving them what we're saying we're giving them. Like, you know what?
You ain't gonna make enough money to keep the label going.
Hey, the good thing about the Good Boy label is it's a good day in the Good Boy label because we give you the money and we make money and then we produce the albums.
Isn't that the whole idea of a label?
A lot of labels. So I watched.
So
I
what
was
would you
reading
do differently than a major
I
label?
was reading this article about T-Pain, and he accepted a $20,000 deal with Akon rather than $900,000 deal with some different record label.
Yeah.
Because they would have literally owned all of his music for a certain amount of years.
Yeah.
But the deal with Akon was way better for him.
That's like on Shark Tank when people are like doing stuff and they're like, okay, I want this much money. And they're
Yeah.
like, cool, I'll give you this much money, but I own 10% of your company. And then someone's like, I'll give you
Exactly.
less money, but I'll also own less of your company. It's like, do you want the cash up front
Yeah.
or do you want to have more freedom down the road?
I had a friend that went on The Voice, or had opportunity to go on The Voice, but it was the same thing. He would have sold everything he ever made, would have gone to the label, and
Yep.
he would have gotten a fraction of it.
Because then you end up with
Even
people.
I think Disney has a similar thing with their Disney Channel actors that then become musicians after like Disney gets a portion.
Oh,
of that.
they get
I feel like
Because
some
this
of
is,
their money.
this is
put
a
'em
good
on.
landing place. Disney needs to stop making artists. Like, I need to, like, if there's
I
a
disagree.
kid in a karate, no, if there's a kid in a karate TV show, you do not need to make a song.
Yeah.
If there's a, like,
but they
but
they
we wouldn't
go
have
big.
driver's license.
That song.
No,
that,
it's-
I listened to that song last night. That song is gas.
It's
Wasn't
so
it-
good.
Wasn't
song is
Zendaya
fire.
on Disney?
Yeah.
Yes,
Zendaya
that's what I'm
was
saying.
on Disney.
So like, yes, you might have
There-
some
Selena
flops, but it
Gomez.
ends up
There
making
was-
Selena
a-
Gomez
there
was
was a
Disney.
whole bunch
Miley
of
Cyrus
flops.
was
There,
Disney.
there's good.
Miley
Look,
Cyrus.
I'm not discounting the good songs. Driver License is good. Miley Cyrus, beautiful. Zendaya, I love her. But there's songs like, there's songs that got no business being written. They're
But-
just trying to make
No,
money.
I agree
No,
with that.
yeah, for
I'll be like,
sure.
watch it. You remember Disney to be like, Disney's top 10. Listen to this music video, and I'd be like,
It's so bad.
What possessed them? Like, this girl cannot
Money.
sing. This man cannot sing.
Money.
B,
If you want to know what possess them is money. They want to make money
Dang.
that's what
because
it
they know
is.
the name will make money.
I'm gonna be honest.
That's
Their
that possession.
Enneagram number is probably a 10. And this,
It's a business. It's not even a
Dang.
person. It's a company. They want money.
I don't know. There's somebody running the company.
Well, we've been all over the place.
We have been all over the place.
I kind of want to get back to the robot thing though. We talked about even like the artists after they're dead.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same. It's that illusion of like a simulated version of the artist to like get that high or get that feeling again. And then back to what you were saying about is it morally okay for there to be robots that, seem so
Yeah.
real that you can like have connection and feel like, I don't know, like I feel even on
Because
like
then at that point, are we becoming like trying to be God by
Yeah.
making people?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What
It's
do y'all
weird.
think? What do y'all think?
I
You
think it's scary.
I feel like we're getting into a weird place. I don't know much about robots outside of being accused of being one. So-
Outside the fact that you are one.
I feel like if
But-
we are getting to a spot to where we are trying to create things that are close to life form, then it is a sketchy territory.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
But-
if we're making robots that can be happy or sad, it is what it is.
I feel like
I don't think they should be able to reproduce. No robot reproduction on their own.
I don't think that's a much of an issue.
It is interesting because then you start like my context for robots is movies.
Yes.
So then I think about like
I feel like I don't be seeing that much movies with robots in them.
Marvel.
what are you talking about?
Like,
There
what's
you
a
go.
movie with robots in it?
So
iRobot, Wall-E.
Wall-E. I watched
Garbage.
Wall-E.
oh,
I don't know. I feel
Wall-E.
like
Wall-E's a
we're
good movie.
I feel like right now we're getting back to the place of the robots in movies, and I feel like this is a good landing ground. This is the marinade. Go through your week, share this with your friends, and talk about the robot controversy. I feel Evan feels like it's wrong. I feel like it's right. I don't know. I feel like go throughout your week, share this podcast. I feel like this is a good place for us to come to a slow
Okay.
stop. Next
We
week,
ending it.
this is the end. We are the #1 podcast on Mars.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Youth Nation.
Youth Nation.